Sometimes I be having doubt because a lot of people don't be giving me my credit. I don't think a lot of people see, like, the boxing fans or the boxing world don't see my actually, like, my boxing skills. They think that I just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Gervonta Tank Davis, Baltimore's finest, along with his day ones, Coach Calvin and Coach Kenny Ellis. All things GTE with a little bit of Leonard Ellaby in there. Did it once again. And a lot of people are coming to the conclusion that Tank has arrived. We talking Stephen A. Smith. I see Sean Porter done flop back over to this side. Ain't no telling what Tim Bradley's saying, but Teddy Atlas doubled down because Teddy Atlas been saying that Tank Davis was on this pound for pound list. And I'm like, wow. When we was watching the fight, my lady was nervous or whatever. She was like, man, Tank, he'll make you do this. He'll make you, it basically make you chain smoke when you're looking at him. And at first, when you were looking at the fight, Frank Martin was doing his thing. And then Tank was down low, getting that information, gathering intel. Then he started breaking them down, and he wound up getting them out of there. I had it between the 5th and the 8th, on my card. He did his thing. Wasn't a good night. I was 1 for 3 that night, but hey, you know what I'm saying? I just love the sport. I feel like, hey, shoot, if I'm right, might well get paid for it, right? I was a little off because the two boogeymen lost. But I digress. Tank Davis said something at the end of the fight. After the fight was all said and done, when he was actually talking, he doubled down on something that I've been saying. It's been the backdrop on my page when I go live and something I've been pointing out. Tank Davis is the most accurate power puncher in the game. That means anything outside of a jab. He's the most accurate power puncher in the game. And when he was asked, because he's always asked about the power and everybody, power. And many of us have already known that it's not just power. It's accuracy. It's speed, power, and accuracy. And he said, and that's what he said. The great ones are accurate. You don't have to throw as many if the ones that you throw actually count. So when I look at the numbers, which nobody is really talking about, when I look at the numbers, I'm breaking it down. When I look at the total, when I look at all of the total numbers, power punches, the final punch stat report, in the first round, Frank outlanded Tank 11-3. Second, 9-4. Third, they was even Steven at 10. Fourth, even Steven at 11. Fifth, Frank 13-11. Sixth, Tank 11-8. Seventh, 19-10. Tank. And in the eighth, 10-9. Tank. Now the whole time, the first round, Frank was a little more accurate than Tank. 26% to 18%. Second round, 21% to Tank's 30%. Third round, 34% to Tank's 52%. Fourth round, 29% to Tank's 45%. Fifth round, 36% to Tank's 40%. Sixth round, 23% to Tank's 39%. Seventh round, 38% to 51%. And in the eighth round, 36% to 71%. It's all about the accuracy. And I had gave an analogy in a previous video where I said that Frank was pretty much going to be trying to get a fly out the window, swinging like that. Tank is trying to smash it on the dash, on the windshield, wherever you put it. But these numbers say everything. As far as jabs thrown, Frank had the better end of the jabs throughout everything. So he won in the jab category. But in total punches, at the end of the day, with all that activity that Frank had, he landed 81 punches. Tank only landed 79 punches. So that was a 2-punch difference. The difference is Frank was landing at 30%. Tank was landing at 44.4%. Tank landed 28 to the body. And Frank landed 18 to the body. When Frank Martin was way more active, threw 270. Tank only threw 170. Total jabs, he won in the jabs. 22% to 32%, but Tank was a little more accurate with his jabs, but Frank physically landed more jabs. And in power punches, this is the key number. This is what means everything. Power punches, Tank landed 54 out of 101. That means he was over 50% in his power punches. He was 53.9%. 21 to the body. Frank, 48 out of 120. He was 40%. That's the threshold to show a dominant performance. Only Tank was landing at 53%. 11 to the body. Frank didn't go to the body enough to slow Tank down. And that, my friends, is why Tank Davis is an exciting fighter. You know, a lot of people don't really want to see a jab fest. A jab is the key to everything in boxing. It sets the tone. It can get you out of trouble. You know, it helps you be defensively responsible. It gives you something to work with. But people don't really want to see a jab fest. People want to see knockouts. They want to see people get dropped. They want to see combinations. And that entails everything outside of a jab unless you're incorporating the jab in a sequence. They come to see people get busy. And Frank he made a valiant effort, you know, for those first 3 rounds. And something clicked in with Tank, and he started cranking it up on Frank. And as you see, the power punch percentages started increasing all the way up to where at one point he landed 71%. If you get the most accurate, one of the most powerful boxers in the game landing on you with his power punches, everything outside of a jab, over 70%, you're going to be a man down. And I know that Frank's going to bounce back. Everybody that actually fought and lost, for the most part, they come back and be better because their next opponents or whatever, they don't have to deal with the same thing they was up against when they actually fight somebody like Tank. So they did it again. A lot of people are late to the party saying that he finally arrived. Tank's been arrived. And I'm going to say this over and over again. Gervonta Tank Davis is the type of boxer that a lot of people are not going to appreciate until he hang up the glove. Unfortunately enough, I mean, that's what happened to some people. That's what happened with Floyd. Some people knew in real time what Floyd was. But this is one of those things that when Gervonta Davis hang up those gloves and he walk away, people are going to go back and look at the fights, do their homework, do their research, not just be sheeple. And they're going to realize that Tank was something special. You know, last year when he fought Ryan Garcia, I was saying it was the ascension. And, you know, he got grounded for a second. He said this was to get him back in the mix. In his post-fight interview, he basically said, yeah, he felt a little rusty, you know, and he can work on some things, but he gonna take a week or 2 off and it's right back in the lab. And that's what I want to hear. A free-minded Tank, a more mature Tank. You seen him after the press conference. Didn't say anything with any malice or no harm or nothing. Wasn't flagrant in anything. Answered all of the questions. You know, gave humble, honest opinion. Laughed, joked, was real with the... And he said that Frank was an excellent fighter. And I want to take time out to give a shout out to Coach Calvin, a shout out to Coach Kenny for always being consistent, and for that group to not let outside influences force them to shatter what they've got, because they have something. It's a nucleus. It's a team. It's just like when there's one driver on that racetrack, it's still a team. It's a you have to go over to the pit. You have to get these things. You have to, you need a team, even though it's only one person on the track. And they do it over and over and over again. They always deliver. He was at a 93% knockout rate. I think he went up to a 95% knockout rate, with 2 fighters surviving, one in a short fight and only one in Isaac Pitbull Cruz, who I call the Juggernaut, was able to survive a full 12 rounds. And salute to Derrick James for handling the pressure with him and Earl and things like that, and what was going on. He handled it very well. Always, I think he's going to be one of them people that until he walk away from the game, once he walk away from the game, people are going to give him his credit and acknowledge that, yes, he has fighters who have shortcomings, but the level of tutelage he's given, and, that co-pilot in the ring, he's been able to get some people to some big fights, get some people to some unifications, get some people to undisputed, and people can't knock that whenever there's bumps in the roads or as a team you face adversity, because we all face adversity. This is a little adversity from Frank. I don't think he should have came in there wearing that lavender, because as soon as I seen that, I said, oh yeah, he definitely going night-night. But that's just my little jug to Frank, man. I hope that, I hope Frank bounce back, man. Deep down, we know that he's a good, slick black fighter. You could check that off the list so that publicly people can stop mentioning that, because I always say, I don't know how you can be from Baltimore or anywhere out here in the DMV area, and not having fought a slick black fighter. Anyways, that's been checked off the block, and there's a lot of speculation as to who Tank should fight next. I kind of like to let the boxers breathe a little bit, listen to what's going on, read the tea leaves, do some homework, look and see what's best case scenario, and let some things pan out. The next stop is to see Shakur Stevenson do his thing in the ring, because we all know at 35, that's the Cold War, and Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson is what everybody wants. We're hearing another name in Loma right now, but hey, I got to do some homework. I got to let some time go by, let everything settle down and settle in, because just like that, boxing can change. Anyways, I would love to get your feedback on this. What do you think about the fight? Did Tank arrive in your book already? He's already in mine. Just not gonna sit around and do content about him all day, every day, but everybody knows that Tank Davis and Errol Spence were 2 of the fighters that brought me back to the sport. They've all had their bumps in the roads and things like that. Tank right now is starting to garner a lot of recognition, and I think he's matured. I think that he's in his prime, and I think that we are going to see a very, very special run here in the next about 3 years. Let me know in my comment section. Feel free to support the channel either with Cash App or Super Chat, or share, or like, or comment. Anyways, I'd love to get your feedback on this fight. Thanks for tuning in here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.